Uh, Music is still waiting. Oh, hello. Sorry, yeah, I schedule it in the sense that I start it and don't go live quite yet. I don't like schedule it in advance really. I kind of schedule it as I start, and then sometimes I just don't start for a while. I got distracted by my phone for a little bit. Now I'm watching ads for my music, so give me a second. It's a bit quiet. I'll be there in a bit. There we go. Hello, folks.
Welcome back, Master Chief.
How's everybody doing? It do be a Wednesday for me. Actually, not anymore, but you know. Was this a road racing? How am I doing? I'm doing alright. Day was kind of chill at work. Got some unknowns going into tomorrow, so hopefully I get some work done. All that. It always feels better to be productive. But progress is being made. I work that I'm like satisfied with this week, so can't be mad about that, you know. Now I'm gaming. Oh, another DBS. That's rare. What about you? How was your day? Oh, my controller overlay is off. Damn. Whoa, I needed to hit that checkpoint, Ben. Ah. Not giving me any space to do that. Generally I've assessed the skill level here at least. Problem with the racing wheel, that sucks. Might have to warranty it. I'm not gonna be able to fix it over the internet somehow.
Emotional damage.
Hell, Rain. Welcome back, welcome back. This guy got faked out. The old switcheroo. Oh, Horizon 5 specifically? Yeah, Horizon 5 doesn't have native support for a bunch of stuff. Like Fanatec. Fanatec wheels also don't work for it. You gotta, like, emulate something else. I don't remember the specific software, but you should Google it. You have to, like, go through an emulation layer and act like your wheel is like a Logitech G29 or something. Hey, Xenox. Well, you were early, Xenox. Yeah, I start the stream by scheduling it because that allows like me to reuse some stuff. I think like the thumbnails also sometimes carry over. Or whatever, though I don't use any of it. But yeah, you were here in the gap that I scheduled for the stream, and I got distracted on my phone. Welcome. Alright. Plan is simple. And I beat this S209. Probably not. Because this is a sprint, I think. But there's hope. I'm generally faster than him. Overall, my car just isn't that fast. I'm the one distracted, Lamau. Yep. Pushing the limits there. The guy behind me will try to look for a way past. 100%. We got through this time around. Not too shabby. Could have been cleaner towards... I got a little bit of pressure from behind me, so I tried some stuff that didn't need to be tried. Good though. You have new sauce. Hello, Shrubby Imp. Sorry, I was too focused. Thanks for the raid, my dude. Welcome, welcome. Too bad at all. Just some tours today. Nice, nice, nice. Thanks for the raid, dude. That's for you. Welcome. Zone in. Yeah, I mean, it's hard sometimes. Lol, that guy immediately quit. Lol, 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 lol. Nor cube. Thor's like chill. Cool alternative to this. Raids in 2026, Lamau. New sauce. Dude, a good sauce though, Trevor, like it really does complete a meal, you know? Some type of good gravy really just caps it off. You're right. So important. Raids stopped after lockdown. What does that lockdown to do with raids? Okay, I'm not getting this reference. Oh wait, I didn't fix my overlay. There we go. That should be. There you go. Toyota Chaser A Dirt MGX power for S1 Dirt, or like a power build for S1. Did you like remind me or like send me a message on disc so I can download it after stream? Potentially. People's rating so much in lockdown, so many people grew. I mean, I don't think it mattered about the raids during lockdown, because like everybody was stuck at home, so streaming in general was just up. Rating just like helped a little bit, I guess, because more people started streaming, I imagine, or the audience was just huge. So people have lives again these days, though. Gotta head out, dude. Gotta head to the bank. Gotta do some adulting. Something else too. You forgot. Understandable when you're cranking out so much good crap that you forget what you did. That's a mood. Not something I can relate to, but of course, that car teleports me. Teleports in front of me. What the? You just hit the traffic, you're not gonna move. That's just my gaming luck. Just is. Dude hits a car and I pay the price. Feels bad. Of course. That guy makes a mistake hitting the car on the outside and taking the corner too tight, and I pay again. What is this? Plenty of space for him on the outside.
Whatever.
This game is a freaking awash. Yeah, best of all the best, Scrubby Imp, with everything you got to do today. Thanks for the raid once again. You want to play Forza now? You gotta start getting prepped for Horizon 6. I have an Xbox One Elite. It's not super important though. Bank King couldn't win, immediately left. Lol. You didn't go to Horizon 4. I just want to play. Horizon 4 is no. It's tough since it's basically the online's broken. Unless you want to play single player, you never find like load times for lobbies are insane. Apparently, it was like an issue that got introduced after they introduced the game on Steam. I don't know if they fixed it. They probably never did because they pulled the game anyway. But your PC, what's wrong with your PC? Didn't hear about that. What happened to your PC? Not good spec. I mean, like Horizon will run on anything. Pretty light as it targets console first. Especially Horizon 4. If you like just stick it in 1080p, turn on some settings, you'll be good to go. I get kind of disrespecting racing lines sometimes, but like that's crazy. That Porsche did. It just didn't break. Turn left yet. Oh wait, no, there's no left turn. Oh god. Screwed by the jump. Extended the corner. That's actually not bad right there. The recovery at least. Okay, that truck screwed my braking zone. Me and traffic today are not good friends at all. With IRL as well, did not have a great time commuting to and from work. Following a lot of bad drivers today. Uh, 3250 Vega 3 GPUs is not possible. Oh, okay. Although you had like just a weak PC, not like not completely one that's unfit for any type of gaming. I mean, you're only like a GPU away from being able to run Forza probably. Just install a GPU. Gotta get your hands on a GPU. Not even like a crazy one. Mid-range one would do. I heard Nvidia might be putting 3060s back into production, so you can try for that. Potentially. Be moving to Missouri. Oh wow, Missouri. Where is that actually in the continent of the U.S.? You were like Cali, right? So that was that was West Coast. It's like Missouri, Midwest. I've only been to like Minnesota, Wisconsin, so I know that area. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Chicago. I drove through that area because I had to go through Washington and stuff like that. From BC, Canada to get there. Lived in Michigan when I was at U of M for a bit. Hell, an LS swap behind me. Yep. There was an LS swap behind me. It's gone now. Bit of a wiggle on the landing. Being a bit cautious. Good here, nobody's in a power build. That corner too tight, now there's a car on the exit here. Didn't necessarily need to brake, I think, generally. I just wanted to make sure I was going to clear it. Car feels so smooth. Got the same vibe as the Ford GT and A-Class dirt. Of course, this A-Class road. Something to do with like a Lotus type V8. Well, not even, it's not Lotus type. Ford GT wasn't, is a V8, but I don't think it was Lotus derived. Lotus did do the tuning for the suspension though. The car. Maybe there's some connection there with both Lotus. Connection there. Both mid-engine as well. Middle of the country, okay. Some school offered you a full scholarship to play football there. Ooh, like a real life football, dang. Not just managing anything. Roblox, Minecraft, and Hollow Knight kind of games work on this. Ah, I see, yeah. Buying a new laptop. Come on, build a PC. By the time you get... The laptops are going to be expensive too, by the way. Unless you're buying it right now. By the time next year happens... If you get to next year, the RAM prices will have gone up. It's either that or... Sorry. the laptop prices would have gone up to match the RAM that's in there. So your other hope is that it's either that or RAM prices come back down because the bubbles burst or something. And at that point, then you can also build a desktop. There's a bit of a lag right now because laptops prices, like they're at last of their stock or whatever. They haven't, like some companies haven't adjusted. Some have already adjusted their pricing, depending on like based on the new RAM pricing already. Some are, you can probably find some existing stock that still hasn't been fully updated yet, pricing wise. But like if in the next like couple months, if you don't buy one, then they're gonna be adjusted pricing wise, and then you're stuck in the same situation, whether it be buying a laptop or building a PC. That's cool though. What's stopping you? There's just like a no-name type school or what? Your 4-year degree in dorm, have to pay a cent. Dude, that's crazy. I know like actual like pro D1 football is like a huge deal at universities, where like they even pay the athletes, right? So then they have spending money. Some say they even like earn more than their rookie contract, right? I'm not a football fan at all, so I don't necessarily follow it that much. I kind of know this offhand from random stuff I've seen on YouTube. I'm assuming that you're not at that level. Yeah, that early section is just like how lucky are you with the bounces. That's the deal. Really? I've seen way harder hits not get any penalty, and you give me one like there. Are these guys still here in front of me? I may or may not have shut him out. You gotta prioritize kind of control over speed in places here. Better to find the right line through than right speed through corners. You gotta remember that. Plus, car's kinda slidey. Kind of deceptive because it had a rear wing. Feels like it'll grip up more, but it doesn't. At high speed there. Not like the Audi S1 that actually legitimately just gets suctioned to the ground at high speed. That's the trade-off here for top end. God, the bounces. Brutal. Cool. The dub. It's all in the program, but their coaches have insane experience at the highest level. It's just so far from home. Oh, okay, so that's the main rub for you, huh? Portability, I gotta buy a laptop only. Laptop, yeah. I mean, if that's the call, then yeah. The thing is, what I would say is that it's almost better to get like a really cheap laptop for school note taking and just build a desktop. Like almost like you could almost get away with the Chromebook for like taking notes at school and stuff. And then like super cheap budget for that and just use the rest of the money for an actual desktop. I used to be that guy. Like I went to university, I had a gaming laptop. It was like it only like a true gaming laptop, like back in the day. And then the gaming laptop was thick AF. The whole thing plus the charger was like 11, 12 pounds or something. And I'd only get like an hour and a half of battery life. And what I found was that I brought my laptop once or twice to class, but that's it. After that is like, then I no longer brought it. It stayed at home most of the time, at the dorm, I guess. And then I had like an iPad. Luckily, I still had an iPad mini, and I ended up using that. Even though technically my typing was slower and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can avoid it. Obviously, like there's some like labs that you need a laptop for because you need specialized software to only run on an actual computer instead of an iPad. Which is why I say it's like getting like a really cheapo laptop or almost, or even a Chromebook, but you could probably get away with like a cheapo thin laptop, a used one potentially as well. You could also look into that. That's good enough to run Microsoft Word and all that kind of stuff. That's all you really need, right? Worst case scenario, you just have to do Linux on your Chromebook and you're good to go. Yeah, so yeah, cool. But like regardless, I'm happy that you got such an offer. It's a good problem to have, I guess, now that you have to decide. Interesting though, because you want to go into like the sports management side, but you're going to be going there for actual sports. I guess you'll have like first-hand experience of the managerial side though. I wonder how valuable that is as an experience. Probably quite a bit if you're going to go into like job hunting after. That you actually played and it was like part of the team in that sense. Have like sort of player perspective of the management side. Like on the management side, have player perspective. That'd be bad for you, I imagine. I honestly can't imagine like what a life of like a student, like a college athlete really is like. Especially if you're not looking to actually go pro. I get if you're trying to get pro, like that you're literally just playing the sport and like that's like could be 100% of your focus mainly, or 90%, and then you just want to get through the courses without failing. And you have people doing one and dones, right? For like basketball, that's all I know about because I follow the NBA a little bit. Those guys don't have to graduate, so basically don't really care about courses either, right? You have to be decent enough to not flunk, I think, at least, right? But if you're actually wanting to like finish uni and get a degree and stuff, honestly don't know how people manage it. Sports comm instead. Like, is there specifically something about communications that's sports specific? The Presence, hello, welcome. Going away, man. I have to go to a totally new city or state. It'll be many kilometers away from your home, so I'll be away for months from home. Yeah, no, but I mean like when you're there, like at your dorm, you build a desktop and have a small laptop, and you leave the desktop at school. I ended up doing that eventually. My gaming laptop was like constantly overheating and stuff. Like I didn't bother trying to fix it. Plus it was getting quite old. And then I built a desktop, brought it back to my dorm, and then just kept having using my iPad for school, taking notes. Although I didn't actually finish my university there. But and then only ever took out my gaming laptop if I for like a lab assignment or something that I needed a laptop for. Otherwise, I would just be like at the school library or something using the school computer. Generally, I feel like that's a better way to go, especially if you're like trying to maximize your performance, because you know desktop is always going to be better. Performance wise, the only like little wrinkle there is that you have to like get a monitor, because you can't just rely on your laptop monitor. Although for me specifically, I always had a monitor regardless, because I would plug my laptop into the monitor anyway when I got back to the dorm. So it didn't actually change much for me. I just had a desktop on the side now. Sports journalism, broadcasting, radio stuff. Journalism is that key word is for uni is tough. I get the other stuff though. That makes sense. You open Twitch. He's awoken. Biscuit Buster accidentally came across a dumb glitch in the game. Yeah, there's quite a few of those. Actually a great idea. Thank you. Laptop screen feels too small. Yeah, especially if you were at home. Plus, like, if you're also like, I ended up also having a keyboard the whole time. Like, I would just plug everything into my laptop when I got home, so I basically don't use my laptop as a laptop once I got home. And then you end up being able to sit further away from your screen, and then the screen needs to be a bit bigger than that, or you're not like up. It's a different case if you're using your laptop itself for gaming, and then you know the screen on the laptop's closer to you, so it like appears larger. But if you're using that as your primary display, then you're gonna have to like spend a bit more, because you're like, oh, I want a good display, because that's my main one I use now. Where you're just gonna spend more money there. And I think the main thing is that the thing with computer hardware, that's like peripherals and stuff like that, can carry over multiple setups. Little things like keyboards. I guess keyboard mouse, of course, you already know about that, but like they don't cost that much, especially nowadays with all these Chinese brands with like their own mechanical slash really good Hall effect keyboards and mouse and stuff now. Nice. But the main thing is the monitor. Monitors will carry you through multiple setups, even if you get like a decent one now. Like if you get a decent one now, and in the future, as long as it's not broken, it will become your second monitor. The monitor I'm using for my second monitor is like at least over a decade old at this point. A 360 has been plugged into it before. It's one of those things that like will always be there for you. I question my own logic there, to be honest, though, because I have a ultra wide right now. That's my main monitor. I don't think this will ever become my second monitor. Although maybe like I've seen some people like turn a monitor like vertically and have like a really tall monitor in this case, and that might work. It might work for like as a chat or a monitoring monitor on the side. But I'd have to get like a different monitor stand to get it to be mounted vertically, but yeah. Can't read this chat while I'm driving this thing. Try to hide it a bit closer than I'd like. Don't feel that comfortable. That guy just failed. We're good. Are you talking about that thing? Fire the moment they realize that you're... Fire is your main thing. I still haven't had in and out. I can't wait. I move to the States and get in and out at some point. I want to get In and Out, and I want to get Chili's. I get to the States. Although I'm moving to a state with no Chili's. I'm gonna be in Washington. Or In and Out. I think the closest In and Out is Oregon. Off whatever I see you on instantly. Lamau. Bought an M3 for 48k and sold it for 12.8. In game, right? You'll be debt free. Triple ultra wide setup. Yeah, that's like a that's insane immersion. Triple ultra wide. G9s are insane, actually, yeah. Dude, that's so stupid, the presents. You're triggering me with that. I hate the fact that they added buy now, pay later to food delivery. And like, by extension, like groceries. So dumb. Imagine door dashing from your own McDonald's. You're paying yourself to cook your own food. That could be like a Robot Chicken episode or some stupid animation thing where like somebody just door dashes within its own restaurant. 4 payments of $4 for a burger spread across 2 months or something. For the burger you ate in that one day. Ugh. At least, like, you know what, like, is the craziest thing to me is that groceries and food and stuff like that is like a one-time use item, right? You eat it and it's gone. Whereas, like, I don't get buy now, pay later for those because, like, you eat it right now for food delivery and it's gone. And now you have to pay for it over 3 months. Whatever the terms are. I get if you, like, I have a one wheel and one wheels are expensive and you can do buy now pay later for one wheels and but it's like closer to sort of leasing a car almost because you'll have the one wheel even at the end of the loan term. You know what I mean? You haven't eaten the one wheel and then now it's gone, you know what I mean? It's so dumb. I get it. Like, people legitimately can't afford it. But then my question is, why are you freaking ordering delivery if you can't afford it? It feels like the option isn't to, oh, I can't afford deliveries, so I'll split my payments with a firm or Klarna. That shouldn't be the, solution. The solution should be, I can't afford it, don't order it. College dining hall got you covered. True. Everybody's, I'm like, even I'm holding my breath right now in this economy. All this debt, all this like AI bubble stuff, like there's so much stuff stacking on top of each other right now. That's just about ready to kind of, feels like, get over a certain threshold and then everything's gonna come down at the same time. It's not gonna be one single thing that was the issue like the other crashes we've had before. AI is the most money, but it's like all this stuff with not even just buy now pay later, is like essentially like new payday loan type structures. New apps are saying that you can get your paycheck now earlier, which is basically just a payday loan. But now it's accessible through a computer app, a phone app. It's just dumb enough as it is. An idea. The guy behind me is in a power build, I guess. Can't get anywhere though. Alright, build boys. Oh god, why? Make that corner? I could have made that corner if he wasn't there even. It doesn't matter whether he was there or not. These end up being too slow. Alright. Don't worry, the economy is fake. There's some people I work with that brag that they get paid early. Yeah, all these like what are the things that are like people have set their indicators? So this whole AI thing, people are just burning money. Nobody's making any money on it yet. Everybody's just burning the cash that they put offshore. So like they had a bunch of cash laying around. Like from all these big companies, Google, Amazon, Apple, all because they had offshore accounts. They never brought it back to the US because they had to pay taxes on it. And then there was like some type of thing that I don't know, I don't quite remember when or whatever. There was like some government intervention that allowed it to be brought, the money to be brought back at a lower tax bracket or something. So they brought a bunch of money back, so they had a lot of cash. But instead of investing it back into their own stuff, they decided, oh, AI. You have a bunch of monies with too much money to burn. Doing that, so then there's that whole thing that's propping up the whole economy right now. Nvidia is stupid. And then what? Like there's the whole Bitcoin that was erupting that maxed out at 100 something K value. And that's crashed now as well. Like that's been halved in like the last 4 months. Not like that's a huge issue. But like the whole crypto thing, that all these scams and stuff like that is gonna eventually, somebody's lost money on that stuff. And then what? You have all these new betting websites, like sports betting is a huge issue. Prediction markets, people like spending money on, you know, Kalshi or whatever. It's dumb. Online gambling is up in general. All these loans, payday loans, buy now pay later, they say that they're not loans but they're loans. Freaking car loans are stupid. People are spending the money for no reason, and then you had people that are paying way over market price back in the pandemic, and now they're paying for it because their car, they're looking to get a new car at this point, like a couple years later, which is also dumb. They have negative equity, nobody's paying their stuff. What else is there? It's super depressing right now. So everybody's like, it's all these signs, it's like, this can't hold. Oh, and not even like the economy specifically, but it's like the political situation globally is bad. You have what? The Ukraine war, you have Gaza still happening, nothing solved there. You have the recent Venezuela operation. That's still ongoing, everything. All this tension that the US is completely unstable now because of an orange orangutan. Yeah, I don't know, man. Everything's stacked. Like I'm glad that we're dealing with everything at the same time. So hopefully we get like a hard reset almost. We don't have to slowly deal with one thing after another for the next couple decades or something. Part of me is glad about that, but part of me is also like kind of unlucky that everything's like kind of coming together at the same exact time. Just like credit card. What the fuck is this guy doing? Okay, nice driving. His name is Type R, so he's driving the right car. You're gonna punt me off here. Yep, he's not even gonna brake. I felt that. God. That was not flat. That ground was not flat. I did a little bit of a jump there. Everybody decided to go off-road for a bit, I guess. Oh. Where'd that guy come from? I always hate that at the end. I hit the wall and lose all my speed. Got nothing there though. A little bit more, farming more than people know. Yeah, 100%. And all this, it's not allowing people. Okay. It's marketed as a way for like smart people to be able to spread out their payments interest free. So they can use the money they would have spent in bulk on other things, potentially. At the end of the day, if you're smart and you pay off that loan, you're making money. Because you can potentially invest that money, or like it can go into your, even if you just goes into your bank account, you can get some extra interest, right? That you wouldn't have gotten if you just bulk purchased it, like a couple grand worth of stuff. Like a one wheel is like $2,000 or something. In my case. It's more like people can take advantage of it. There is an upside. But most people aren't using it like that, right? Most people are not making the payment, so they're paying the interest, and it makes it seem like, oh, I can't afford it. Like, it makes it seem like, oh, you can afford this. The worst misconception, I feel like, is that Klarna and the firm, you should treat them, you should never think of those purchases as, oh, as just a monthly payment, just like the cars. It's so warped. It's like, you have to know that at the end of the day, like if this thing costs $2,000 or something, normally can you afford to pay this? If the answer is no, then you can't afford it. Just because Klarna or a firm splits across 4 months or whatever doesn't mean suddenly magically you got the extra money and now there's some extra money there and you can afford it now. No. It just means that technically you're spreading out thinner, you still can't afford it, but you're forcing yourself to. In any normal circumstance, it's a I can't afford situation. And I think same thing happened with the car. Like I remember, like it was such a culture shock to me. I got like it's a weird circumstance, but like I was on a road trip, on a day trip down to Washington from Canada. We got into an accident. I got rear-ended after I emergency braked, and some car behind me didn't brake fast enough, and it was clear looking back at the dashcam footage that guy had malfunctioning brakes. He had no ABS. All his wheels were locked, even though it was a modern Civic. So the guy definitely, I don't know if he was insured or whatever. Like I think he was, but his car definitely wasn't functioning correctly because all the wheels were locking. Anyway, long and short of it, basically we were sitting there waiting, like on the side of the road a little bit, because we were waiting a little bit for the cops to show up. I was driving my dad's Model Y, which was still newer-ish at the time, and the police officer was like kind of talking to us a little bit, trying to understand what happened. And like the fact that the Tesla has like all the cameras and records everything, kind of like a dash cam. He had all the footage, and I was like, oh yeah, I was talking about the incident. I was like, I can show you the footage, and he was like, oh really? And I showed him. That guy should be ghosted 100%. Well, typical bone shaker moment. Classic. I don't know what that guy's mad about. Just really didn't like the guy, I guess. But getting back to it. So after I showed him that, like the officer was pretty interested in like the car, and he was like, "How much does this cost?" And I was like, "Oh, it was about like 80 grand." Like I told him, it's like, I'm from Canada, as you know, from the play. Like this was about 80k Canadian or whatever. Total price from what I remember. And I picked it up with my dad. And he was like, "Oh no, what's the monthly on it?" I was like, "Eh? I told you the price of the car. Why is it not the? Why is that? That's the price. Like, why are you asking for monthly payment on top of that? Like, what's that gonna change on your perception of it?" It was such a culture shock for me. I was like, that's how people view it. That's some people view it. I think what we like horribly lack in this society is nobody understands debt. I'm not sure whether it's the same in foreign countries. But even in like Hong Kong, where I grew up, and people didn't understand debt. Like there's nothing that teaches you debt when you're growing up in middle school, high school. Before you can sign up for a credit card, nobody tells you anything about debt. More responsible, true. Find a way to get cheap free college. True. Live within your means, even though your means are suck. I get it. I think there's also like a weird wave, a trend on YouTube or whatever, where like people are like, "Oh, boomers don't understand." Yes, I get that. Like, I agree. Boomers are like, "Oh, if you only tried harder, like back in the day, I could afford a house. Like if you tried harder." Yes, things are more expensive now. It's different from the boomer age. Yes. And then people are getting mad at the boomers for misunderstanding. But like, okay, I understand it. There's some arrangement there, especially if they're saying that they're much better than you and trying to like holier than thou you at the moment. But regardless of whether the boomer is right or wrong, even if you get mad at the boomer, it doesn't change the fact that this is the society we live in. You can complain about the society you live in. You can vote for based off your interest of how the society is supposed to go and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't change the fact that it is what it is. So don't go freaking buying a Hellcat for no reason. Like, you can't afford it. Please, like... I just hear people complain about nagging student loans. Miss me with that. Yeah, car payments, rent. Yeah, it's monthly expenses. Even like, I work at a big company, big tech company, as you know. So people are well off. I still hear people complaining. I was like, I don't get paid enough. I was like, what the frick are you talking about? You're like top 10%. You're at the top tax bracket. I don't know, like you're close to it, but you know. I was like, yeah, I don't have enough money. I can't afford a house. I was like, bro, if you can't afford anything, like I get housing is expensive, but you can definitely afford it. Like you're top, you're earning good money. And they're like, oh yeah, I can't afford a Ferrari or whatever. It's all a pipe dream. I was like, technically you could on your salary if you like finance it. You just can't buy anything outside of that. That's your whole expense. You're gonna have to like save on rent and all, like on other expenses. Like you're definitely not going to go out for a lot of meals and stuff like that. But you could make it work. Same thing with a mortgage payment on like an apartment or like a regular house or something. You definitely have enough money. And then I look and then they're like, oh yeah, they have like multiple gym memberships, like they're paying for like a bunch of supplements, they're eating out all the time, they're delivering everything to home, like getting food delivery. It's like, is that normal? Like, do you consider that necessities in your life that you can't cut out? You just want to start saving money? Or complaining about freaking not having enough? Which is wild to me. Like rent. It's like, yeah, I get rent. Whatever, bro. If you replace your rent with a mortgage, not that far off. Functionally, they're the same, kind of, even though mortgage is worse for you because you don't have a landlord that can deal with stuff for you. At least you're owning a house. Or a requirement at the end of the day, right? I don't know, man. And 3 people who make over 100k live paycheck to paycheck. Bro, exactly. Exactly. I don't know, man. Like, it's so weird. I feel like it's the like. Looking back at it, right? It's really clear that we need to keep like education is so important. The fact that we don't have good education on how debt works early, like even I mean. Too early is not feasible, right? Like, kindergartners aren't going to understand debt. Yeah, I wonder who, bro. Must be a great player. No bias. But like, so there needs to be some type of education that happens at the high school level at least to get people understanding how debt works. Because even in Hong Kong, it's very, very common for, like, they even do this. You have salespeople for the credit card companies stood out with booths between a university and, like, the train station. So everybody actually walks across it, and they keep on selling you on credit cards. It's very common for them to sign, like, for college students to sign on for a credit card, not understanding how it works, rack up the credit card bill. And because their guarantor technically is their parent, they write that down as their parent. Then their parent is on liable, and then everybody goes bankrupt. the whole family goes bankrupt because of this one kid. Unless, you know, the family's well off. But if the family's well off, then I feel like there's a non-zero chance that the guy probably won't go for the credit card in the first place. They might have money from their parents already to spend. But it's very normal. So, and there's like, no, not normal, but like, it's very more common than we'd like for this type of situation to happen. And then because of this, like, there's so much credit card debt, people going into random credit card debt, that there are dedicated companies that aren't banks that sell themselves as, oh, you gotta get rid of your credit card debt, so we'll loan you money. And technically it's a better deal because, you know, they're gonna charge less interest, right? Because it's a regular loan instead of a credit card debt. But there's a whole industry that spawned because of, that's between a bank, that's not a bank, that literally just writes you loans. That's not a bank. In other countries, just here in Canada, right, these companies don't exist. The only people that gives out loans are banks and credit unions or whatever. The whole industry of those other type of loan companies, we call them debt management companies or something like that. In the direct Chinese to English translation or something. Debt handling company. Help you handle your debt by writing you and the way they do it generally is just write you a loan to clear off so you can pay off your credit card, and then you just pay them instead. The multiple companies doing this in Hong Kong, and they regularly advertise on TV. But I say all this to say that we're getting university students that are getting scammed like this for credit card debt. Going into debt. And I get generally what you want to, like, going forward, I think, because I know currently the education system doesn't have this type of lesson they don't teach kids this. So it's up to me, if I ever have a kid, that I have to make sure that at the high school level, as soon as they kind of are able to understand that, I'm teaching them about it. How it's not free money, whatever. It's cute the first time as a kid watches like an adult swipe a plastic card to buy stuff. It's cute that first time because they're like, oh, it's infinite money. It's just my dad has a plastic card and I can buy anything. Cute the first time. If you're 18 and you still think that, that's a problem. You don't want to teach finance because they want 18-year-olds to fall in line. True. Most important thing to understand. Okay, I think that's maybe an exaggeration. Most important thing, but it's definitely up there. I think like morality and ethics and stuff like that might be a bit more important potentially, because it drives. If you don't have ethics and you know about finance, then you're just gonna be one of those guys that takes advantage of the system to like scam other people. But I'm nitpicking, but you're right. It should be up there. %. You're right. The skill comes after literacy, though. Right. And you have to build that. A lot of it is if the parent has, and not even just that, is it's like allowance, you know? That's why you give a kid an allowance. Right? They can slowly understand that money, right? You do chores, you get money or whatever, however system you want, and then all that kind of stuff. Understand. I've never got like loans. I think my mom just told me about it, but I don't actually know how I understood it. Admittedly, I was like in a well-off enough family that I didn't have to worry about spending money much. I guess I'm in that case that I talked about, whereas like the credit card never really drew me. But I did also already understand how credit cards worked before I got into university. Watching my parents have like a deck of cards because every one of them has different points values. One's good for something and one's good for the other and stuff like that. So I kind of grew up in that environment. So I remember going through my dad's deck of mom and dad's deck of credit cards, and they'll be like, "Oh, can you grab me this card for this or whatever?" When they're paying for something, I was like, "Oh, this one? Why? Blah 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 blah." So I guess like I passively absorbed a bit of that knowledge, just handling those cards. Understanding is not magic. But I think that's really important. The fact that I recently heard a stat, isn't like 40% of American kids can't read or illiterate functionally. I don't know what grade level they were looking at. I think it was high school, right, or something, middle school or high school. It's crazy. I don't actually remember. Don't quote me. I just know there was some type of thing that was like concerned about literacy in America. Was it even like kids? It might have been just like general American population. That can't be good. I work with that make the same as me but can't live without working 80-hour work weeks, which is insane. Yeah. Figaro Hills. Thanks for the raid, my dude. Welcome, raiders. Raid. Thanks for trusting your community here. I hope you all enjoy your stay. Oh god. How was your stream? I was so ahead that didn't matter. What was I on? What topic was I on? About literacy for a bit. Don't know where I was going with it. Feel like racing? Thank you. Gotta go. Hey, thanks for dropping off here. Appreciate it. Guys, I know that bring home 15k a month and can't live on anything below that. 15k a month? Holy crap. That's lifestyle creep for you. That's insane. Like, I think there's something I always had a question about. What do the ultra wealthy actually do? Like, what drives them? It's like, if I think about it now, right? If I got the position where I was getting like, less conservatively, not like ultra wealthy, but like 100, like a mil a year. If I'm making $1 million a year, this is not even like ultra wealthy, right? Like, I can't afford a yacht or whatever with this salary. You know what I mean? But it's like, if I had $1 million a year, right? I don't think I'd do anything Like, I'd have plenty of savings. But I'm not using all of it. I'm not gonna buy a freaking Bugatti or something. So like, best car I'm ever gonna buy there is probably like the first year I do that, I get a freaking GT3, but that's about it. I get a house. I'm still not gonna be able to afford on that salary. As stupid as the housing market is sometimes. In my area. But I'll get a mortgage, and then like I'll, of course, at that point I'll be able to pay it off in like what, 2-3 years. But after that, like, what am I spending the money on? Just builds. I can buy more housing, like invest and stuff, but I'll probably just invest it, right? Road. Okay. Utilize their assets better than normal people. Survive. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand what people like. And then they're making all these moves, being like different CEOs, and they're, you know, driving up stock price to like get a bigger payday, and they're like never taking a pay cut to pay their employees better. Like, what are they hoarding this wealth for? Like, I get the argument that you want your children to be well cared for, but like, what's the bar? Like, do you want them to like not have to work a single day of their life? Like, I guess that's a crazy bar, but then I'm pretty sure you get even at $1 million a year. After what, 20 years, my kids are set. As long as they're not spending it all on like crazy stuff, right? So it's like, I don't know. I guess like they would be saying, oh, my kids shouldn't have to work a day in their life, living the life that I'm living right now on yachts and private jets or whatever. And if you're taking that, then you have like more of an argument to keep hoarding wealth. But like some of these people's bank accounts are probably so much that even that doesn't, like, they can probably have like 3 generations of not doing that. And I get trying to think long term for your kids. I don't think anybody cares about that much. To be doing 3-4 generations worth of savings. And at that point, you might as well just put it in the trust fund that's probably better handled anyway, or whatever. And they'll keep it growing with safe investments and all that kind of stuff, hopefully. I'm making that much. Dude, that would be crazy. If I had that money, I'd stop looking to get promoted, I think at that point, like, thinking about it right now, if I got to a point where my salary, 1 year's salary, could afford a Porsche GT3, like, that's what, like, in the US, that's what, 300k, 300 something k before taxes though. Let's do post taxes, so like that would be like 400k a year, even less than your plan manager. I think I wouldn't even, I'd then say, okay, I'm at a point now where I'm happy with this salary. I don't want more. Of course, inflation and all that, so maybe I'd want slightly more and try to maybe get it. But even with inflation, I don't really think I care. Even if I... But anyway, I think that's digressing too much, but at that point, I'd be focusing more as like, okay, let's keep my current workload, and then as long as it's not overbearing, right? Unless I grinded. If I grinded for it and I still have to continue grinding for the 400, okay, then I might think about, okay, I'll do this for maybe 10 years and then find a lower end job that pays less, but I can work less. It's kind of annoying. I can't pass him. That section was my key. The rest of this is gonna be too much. Anyway, I wasn't really focusing on racing, to be fair though. %of your paycheck, I'm still left with more than I know what to do with. Yeah, I'm thinking about investing at the moment, but I can't right now because I'm in between. I might move to the States, and if I invest anything here, then I have to like potentially get rid of it to a non-citizen in Canada, so I don't have to pay taxes in 2 places. But I get what you're saying. I would be in the same boat, I imagine. I want to start, although not right now, actually. At the current moment, I won't invest anything more than likely. I know people say it's a dumb move because if you just buy like sort of index or whatever, then the market's always going to grow. But I feel like there's a sort of paradigm shift slash crash slash bubble on the horizon that I want to wait for this thing to be over. So I'm currently hoarding capital, is what I'm saying. And I want to start investing after the fact. Right now, at least that's the current where I'm at with my own financial journey at the moment. So I'll pull out at 65. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't have that kind of thing though. Oh, I kind of have. In Canada, there's this thing called an RSP, which is kind of the same thing. It's currently going into a fund that, and then my company matches it like a certain percentage. I'm putting like 10% of it, which is way more than the match. Like my my coworker sometimes like, oh, why are you putting in that much like that? And I was like, I don't want to manage that type of money. I don't have the mental capacity to be, because their alternative, right, is to not and to do your own investing outside of the match, right? But they're essentially managing a fund there anyway, so I don't think that'd be that different, because I believe in statistics and I believe that I can't time the market. So I'm not one of those guys that can think that I can somehow find the golden goose stock that'll earn me a bunch of money on the investments, and it's so too stressful to be tracking like 5-6 investment stocks or whatever for the amount of money that statistically you're not gonna get. So your Roth IRA just 401k, but they only match 2%. Yeah, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I have to deal with that when I get to the US 401k stuff or whatever. So I'm not even 100% sure what's gonna happen there. But this is like still a bit of ways out before I have to really think about investing stuff, because my current strategy, I think I want to hold it. Just hoarding capital before this whole thing market readjusts. Because even if the AI bubble doesn't burst, there's going to be a moment where somebody wins and then the rest of the market falls. Because even if it works, right, one company's going to win. You can't have all these AI companies, you know what I mean? You'll have the de facto, like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 maximum, and the rest that are still losing money will be gone. That's just how it is with stuff like this. Well, like, best case scenario, it's still gonna drop. Worst case scenario, or in my case, best case scenario, because I want it to crash because stupid RAM prices. Give me my computer hardware back, by the way. I'm waiting for that dip. It's too obvious not to at least have something logically to go down. So I'm just not throwing away extra money. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's smart. generally a good idea, and I agree with that. Yeah, I eventually want to just probably like punt like a certain amount into index funds. Right now, if I were to do it right now, I'd do like half normal, maybe like Nasdaq or S&P, but the other half I would do. I would try to find an index that indexes non-US, because there's too much AI bias. Basically, if you're buying an index right now, like S&P or the big ones, you're basically buying into AI stocks because of the percentages, which is kind of dumb. That I have to find an ETF that's more indexy than AI, than an actual index. I mean, technically it is what it is because market cap stuff, but it's just the principle of an index isn't held because with the current whole like spreading of risk and stuff. Anyway, getting pretty deep into this talk, which is cool. It's like it does thunk that playing Forza, we'd end up talking about an investment, and money, financial stuff. I love streaming, bro. It's awesome. I mean, like, even right now when I think about my life, right, I'm fairly happy because I don't have to pay rent right now. I will eventually because when I'm moving to the States, I'll have to rent there. But I don't currently rent because I'm living with family. But I'm looking ahead, I'm like, okay, I have a decent car that I invested in. I can live with this for the rest of my life, realistically. I don't think I need a different car, but then my sort of decision is kind of based around right now is kind of based around if I get enough money, do I upgrade before? Because the next thing I think about is house, right? After car. Well, most of the time it's probably a house before like nice car, but most people. But car guy, you know, what car came first? Whether I want to my only like thing moving forward is whether I want to delay my like a potential house play. There's a world where like if I wanted to, I could save for 2-3 years or something and then get dream endgame car and be done. And then start saving and investing or whatever for the house I'll eventually buy or whatever. And after that, after house, I don't even know. Then like stuff just goes into normal investment stuff. Extra money after that. I don't necessarily believe in the long term housing is going to be an investing asset. Because I think eventually the only fix for the housing market is kind of to remove the speculative investment nature of it and view it as a sort of actual necessity. And not an investment device. But maybe there's like a middle line there. I don't think there might be a place where we make it so that it's not Wall Street friendly, but individuals could potentially do it. But then that's kind of murky, I think, legislative wise to make that kind of split. And then companies will find a way to still invest in housing by doing some weird shenanigans about going through middlemen or something that register their housing in personal names, whatever. getting into the weeds about that though. I don't. Maybe. But that's kind of like just investment strategy, basically, right? Do I want to invest my money into real estate, or do I want to do it into index or into the market? Very blessed to live with their parents still. Yeah, same, bro. Want to own a house within the next 5 years at least. Housing is an investment unless you own multiple properties. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, right? That's like after my first house, which is an investment into myself, basically. It's not an investment, right? It's just a living space for me. Then what do I do with the extra money? Then it's the idea, right? Do you get another mortgage and view housing as an investment and just buy other housing and potentially rent it out? Be a landlord. Help with that, or you play the market, or not play. I don't ever want to be individual playing market, as I said about statistics. But yeah, you know, not viewing it as my first house is definitely not an investment. I don't have like as much of a thing with like whole 5 years thing. But yeah, you want a fun car? Yeah, car guys, we gotta make a bad financial decision at one point in our life. We're just buying a car, that a depreciating asset in a car that's gonna be fun. It's gonna cost more than a regular. As you know, if we're logical and purely utilitarian, everybody would buy like a Corolla or something, right? But we ain't gonna do that. Us car guys gonna make at least one bad financial decision in their life. Oh, this is so boring. I'll do it though. Let's do drive. I'll just do it. Wimbo plays. Welcome. Hello. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Horrible crippling debt for a lot of cars. Yeah, that's one thing I would say, that I never want to go into debt for cars. Unless the debt is super cheap. I don't want to go into, like, I don't think crippling is even too extreme. Like, I want to even moderate debt, I'd say. Like, unless I'm getting like below 5% interest rate, I don't ever want to be like in debt for a car. And around the 5% mark is when you start saying like, oh, maybe it's fine. To me, at least. We're doing like racing or drag or cruising. I'm just racing. Open races. I'm running up the ears. You know what's stupid about this? Is that going down here like this, if I hold clutch, I should get faster and faster. But this game doesn't allow it. Because I'm disconnecting the engine, and I should have all the gears I need, and I shouldn't be limited, but this game is stupid. Same thing happens in Hot Wheels. I'm holding down the clutch. I should not have a top speed limit, assuming that I'm getting some type of acceleration somewhere. No. Pretty hard to come by for a car. I mean, there was a hot minute where there was sort of that going on, right? And the low interest rates were around, I think. Even right now, I think there's like some online stuff I'm seeing like 8% already. I don't think it's too far-fetched to get to 5. Like when the economy is doing well. I guess it's not doing well, then they lower. I don't. It's kind of topsy-turvy. But like, yeah, I get it's not likely, and then that's why I'm. That's kind of my point, where I'm not likely I'll be in debt. Like, I think that's the only way. If I get below 5% finance or something, then I might go into debt with a car. But otherwise, I'll always want to pay it off, either as quickly as possible or just outright. What's your candidate for a fun car right now? Like your first fun car, or do you have one already? So would never go into debt for a normal car like a Camry. Oh hell yeah, yeah, for sure. Fun car. Fun car there's no amount you wouldn't go into debt for. Ooh, okay. That's the difference between you and I. That's why I'm struggling. I'm gonna flex a little bit. Not flex, but like first world problem. I have an M3 right now. I have a G80 M3. The dilemma right now is whether or not I potentially get a GT3 at some point. I don't want to do it while the tariffs are up, so I'm at least gonna wait for another 3 years until the presidency is over and hopefully the tariffs get reset. Because I'm never gonna buy that car in the US with an extra 25% tacked on. But my question is then in that time I have to save enough money to buy it outright, or if the interest rate is not high, not low enough. You know what I mean? That would be my next sort of, and then that would be my end game. And then in the future, it's probably going to be like some type of electric minivan for the family, or like a daily. The fam. I mean, the GT3 would still be my daily, for as long as gasoline is available to be purchased at a regular pump at not ridiculous prices. Once it gets rare enough to be ridiculously priced, then it's gonna be in a weekend car. But yeah, a sub 40k mile 718. Do you want a Boxster or do you want a Cayman? Does it matter to you, or does... You must have a preference, right? That is a well-deserved death of a lobby here, actually. D-class cross country is one of the most boring things. Cayman, yeah. I thought about this a little bit. Part of me is like, I want I want to still have a manual, right? I could get that with Carrera T instead of going full hog GT3, in which case I could afford that pretty easily. Because it's only like maybe like 20, 30, 40 grand more than my M3 I already own. It's not that much of a stretch. But then I'm like, will I be satisfied with that? Part of me is like, heck yeah, you will. And that part of me is the same part of me that says the M3 is already more than enough car, because it is. Another part is like, you get a GT3, which is crazy amounts of money more. You want PDK? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm opposite. I want a manual. Low mile E90. Those are getting rarer though. 17's a newer, 718's a newer car. Low mile E90 is tough, man. Those are some good choices, though. My IMHO opinion. Excellent attack. Or somebody's already done it. I think. Maintenance. Hopefully. By the time you get it. Or you could just do it again, honestly. It's a good sign if it's already been done once, but it doesn't hurt that once you get ownership of the car, you do it again. Just to make sure. That engine is stupid. This is one of the all-time greats. V8. And it's associated V10 too. You gotta do it yourself? Yeah, I mean, if you can do it. I just wasn't ever raised in a mechanically apt family, so I'd have to get somebody else to do it. We don't even have freaking ratchet set in the house. I had to buy a torque wrench and justify it to my mom. Well, not really. I paid for it with my own money. I could buy it regardless, but she was questioning it. And all I wanted to do was to be able to change my own rims for some, between my winters and summer tires. My own torque wrench, bought a floor jack. I mean, the floor jack was a bit too much. I could probably on a cheaper one or something. But other than that, torque wrench, breaker bar, all that kind of stuff I needed to buy. Generally would have been fine because I would save money in the long run, not having to go to a tire shop every time to make the swap. But plus the convenience of being able to do it in my own garage. Can't do it, but I mean, pay for it yourself. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I say, right? Like, it was like, that's what I'm saying. If I was to buy like an E90, E92, I would look for one that either was super low mileage or higher mileage, but I could get proof that the rod bearings had already been done once. And then regardless of both cases, the first thing I'd do once I took ownership would be to pay somebody to do the rod bearings. Just so I know that the engine is healthy. Plus, like, during the course of the rod bearings, you can fix whatever, if they find whatever else improvements they can make in the engine as well, but while they're there. Yeah, I think we're aligned on that. We're the same. We're of the same mind there. 3,500. Is that with labor? It's too little. Dang. Isn't that cheaper than doing a crank hub for the S55? I've heard people go crazy for the S55 crank hub. That's less of an issue, generally. And I feel like the crank hub is less of a job than freaking rod bearings. I guess it's deeper in the engine, so maybe. Actually, no, rod bearing. It's kind of at the same level. You have to. I don't know, man. How much longer am I on for Zim? Probably another like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. One or two more playlists. $102,000. I see. Not like I'm in the market or anything, but that's cool to know. 20. I don't think I'll be downgrading from my G80 to an E90. Could argue whether it's a downgrade though. Yeah. Whether or not. You're never going into debt with all these cars you're naming though, right? Crazy debt. I thought you were talking about like more expensive exotic type stuff, like I was. I'm talking about a GT3, which is freaking 300 grand. Well, yeah, you would go into debt, but like not crazy debt. You're trying to like you're talking about like, oh, you'd be willing to go into crippling debt. I don't think you're going into crippling debt for a 718, unless you're like talking about like the GT4s or whatever. I wouldn't call it crippling though. It's not like crazy debt. Like, you'd finance it or something, but it's not gonna be that bad. Like in a reasonable. What are they going for these days? Like the E90 is what? Oh, I only looked at this in like back in a long time ago. What's it going for now? Like 20k, 20k, 30k? Ooh, you're into that electric performance, huh? Nice. The Sapphire is good for the engineer, for the driver. Software is kind of meh. As the man in the whiteboard has revealed after his Lucid Air experiences. Engineering wise, can't go wrong with Lucid. Plus, it's gonna have less competition coming out because I think Tesla is discontinuing Model S, Model X, right? Oh, what the? Okay. Well, I had more time than that to pick a car, but whatever. New lobby anyway would be nice. The lobby was kind of dead. Example E90 probably on 30 to 40. What about 718? ETS right now? Going like 50, 60 right now? You know, that's wrong. Porsches don't depreciate that quick. Depends on how old you get. 718s have been around for a while already, so. Older examples are probably down now, right? A cross country. Am I using? Sure. EV enjoyer. You know, I'm okay with EVs. EVs are, I don't have a problem with them. They fundamentally have advantages. Handling is not one of them, but as a car, it's hard to fault them. Royce Mayer, I think. Hello. How you doing, bud? I want to event. I like for a daily. I think there's nothing you can beat. You can beat a electric car. That's why I want an event. Like if I ever had to get a family, the family car is gonna be a freaking electric van. ID Buzz, but cheaper because the ID Buzz is stupid expensive. I'm in a bathroom here with him. Ioniq 5N for daily. Dude, that was a world and way where my mom would have ended up with an Ioniq 5N. So I was literally saying this, like, she was in the market for a car like a year ago. Kind of in an awkward time because she wanted a car that's like Corolla Cross type size, like Kona size. But there aren't a lot of electric choices. Like, she's down to go electric. So we were starting to look at the EX30 from Volvo, which is the only competitor at this size, really. There's the Kona electric, but it's not really the same because it's a shared platform car, right? So there was like a non-zero chance my mom might have been convinced to go a size up and go for an Ioniq 5 or an EV6. And I literally told her, I was like, hey, if you do that, I'm willing to sponsor or make up the difference and get the N, or whatever performance version of the electric car you end up going for. Whether it be EV6, going for the EV6 GT or whatever. I drive that car on the weekend, it'd be cool to have it, you know what I mean? Really? Missed the checkpoint? I did miss the checkpoint. You did. There you go. Hey, Bagam. I bet it's so rare. Were they rare? I saw like 2 just the other day, back to back. I guess I was downtown in my area. But there was clearly one already on the dealer lots that was ready to be sold when we were looking. But essentially there was a non-zero chance with that, but then we ended up saying, hey, if we wait another 3 or 4 years, or yeah, 2-3 years even, we'll have a lot more choices. Thinking like our Rivian R3, the Volvo EX30 maturing a little bit and getting the NACS plug. The EX30 ended up being a good choice to avoid because the software on it was pretty trash for a while. We're fixing it now, but people have not been high on it, and I'm glad we didn't jump on the early bandwagon. So instead, basically, my mom got like a cheaper, like just a regular Kona gas to like hold her over for 3-4 years. That's the idea, but it might go longer depending on how long she keeps that car. My kind of my mind timeline is potentially getting the R3X. Then, assuming that Rivian survives for that long. That thing looks like a little rocket, bro. Pretty cool. Of 1.5N, dang. Yeah. Maybe it's the area. People seem hype on it though. I think generally press was good on it. I don't know about sales though. Doesn't seem like they're discontinuing it early or whatever, so I don't think it's that bad. My favorite company beside Lucid. Yeah, the R2 is interesting. At this point, not just because of the like political landscape, as well as just like Tesla being falling behind and all that kind of stuff a little bit. I'd take the R2 over the Model Y kind of every time. Of course, if you can't get a used R2, so if you wanna on price, I might still end up getting Model Y if I need one, but. Sales are pretty low. I mean, it wasn't meant to be a high volume seller though. It's a performance model, right? So. I think they're fine with that. Not a big deal because it's not actually like that hard. It didn't. There's like some like they can just lower production numbers to match. This is just Ioniq 5, right? And has like different suspension, brakes, wheels, of course, but like it's like okay, periphery kind of parts. Like different motor. They can produce less of those. It's fine. Uses the same battery. Not like that different. The interior is basically the same, and accents and all that kind of stuff, but. That type of car, because it's not a standalone model, I'm not worried, even if it's low volume. Plus, it's more acting like their Halo car than anything, which I'm fine with. Still a cool car though. Not sure I would ever entertain the fake gear shifts. Not that much of a purist, especially when it comes to EVs. I want EVs to be EVs, and EV charm is the no gear shift, hard launch on torque, instant torque feel. I don't ever want to lose that. Everything's charging network is getting way better. I mean, it doesn't even matter because everybody can use the Tesla superchargers now. It just shows you how freaking desperate Tesla were. Realistically, they should have never opened it up. Competitive advantage. Like, but they needed the extra revenue so bad. I'm glad for it because it forces Tesla to actually innovate as well as just more competition. But yeah, hopefully this like forces them to actually bring out changes and actually innovate now. More competition in the space that they can't rely on the supercharger network. I mean, they still have the top software and all that kind of stuff, but all the Chinese EVs and stuff are half decent now as well, so. You said Gravity will be insane. Can't wait to see it in person. That thing's never gonna be like on my list though. Because if I think about trying to, this is my take. If I can avoid an SUV, I will. When it comes to trying to carry like 7 people, like more than 5 people. S-Class. S1 cross country. Just because you're here in Vatican. Game knows, man. The game knows. To be fair though, the difference is that is Lucid runs their own dealerships, right? So it's not actually like they're like Tesla. I don't actually think they would do markups. I don't know. I think it's more to their advantage to just sell as many as possible. I don't think they care that it could be on waitlisted. Hummer EV and stuff like that makes sense because it's like legacy, so then you have the dealers doing their own thing and the company's actually hating it because it ended up limiting demand. because of all these shenanigans. Same thing with Nissan. The 400Z is basically crippled. Like the whole program is crippled because of the stupid dealer markups. And dealers, man. Some good ones out there, like the one I bought my car from. Even gave me I bought my car in 20. I took delivery of it in January 2024. This was right towards the end, or where it was still like lockdown, chip shortage stuff. And like all these dealer markups still happening, but the dealer I went to didn't mark up my car at all, even though I was put on and even gave me like a discount on an M car. Custom ordered, brand new. Really good. So like some dealers are good as well, but there's so many horror stories of bad dealers, man. And it all comes down to those like dealers not understanding long term versus short term, it feels like. I think this is just like the world though, admittedly. Like in the short term, yeah, you get a bit more money, but then people are gonna hate you for doing all these markups, and you threaten the manufacturer. Right? Like the 400Z, like the manufacturer, I'm pretty sure if nobody did dealer markups, the 400Z would be way more successful as a program. Nissan would be celebrating, but Nissan hates, like, the sale numbers are so low. I think mostly because of dealer markups. At the price that it was MSRP'd at, it was like, it's a good deal. People would flock to it, but no. Like, if you want like a company to survive and have a good car, right? Get them out. And they're like hassling them on freaking financing and stuff like that because you make more money there now, which is another big issue. Also affects me because I buy things with cash, and then they hate me because they don't make as much money off me, and then I have tougher time trying to, you know, negotiate or whatever. But there are some better dealers out there, like my guy I went to, but still, seem to be rare. I literally had a dealership I went to that I talked to them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't allow cash offers. We don't allow you to buy it off. All right, it's either lease or finance for an M3." I'm like, not buying here, I guess. Used to be if you said that, oh, you had the cold hard cash right now, it'd be an advantage, but nowadays, no. I'd rather you finance. Damn, but people still fall into the trap, then why change? Yeah, I guess. the writing's on the wall. These guys are a lot of these dealer markups during like the lockdowns, especially. We ended up getting unfortunate. Getting swallowed. We're getting taken up by these guys that from their stimulus check and people not understanding loan terms. They can't afford it actually, and now they're super underwater because on top of depreciation, they also have the fact that nobody actually wants to pay the markup in the used market, right? So you lose that money immediately. Like these are predatory loans. Like you can even I would call them predatory loans, right? All for it. True. FOMO do be freaking powerful. To be a big EV guy. Into the EVs. They're the future. Wow, you got 2 metas immediately. TVR and a friggin' GTR. I guess TVR is not technically meta, but it's just a really good car, right? The beginner is really docile. And the CLK is handling meta, if I remember correctly, right? For S1. Not the best for cross country. Oh, I'm gonna hit you. Oh, I'm not. We're good. It's on my screen. I didn't hit you. We're good. Oh no, you flipped again. That's insane. Unlucky. The game does no ball. The gas car is a fun car, but EVs are definitely the best dailies. Yep. I can agree with that. As a transportation device, you can't be an EV versus non gas. Again, give me a friggin' van. EV van, electric van, the family. That's gonna be my family car. Oh, that SUV BS. Give me sliding doors, lower entry height, more legroom, more cargo space. I don't need to go off-road. I don't need an SUV. I think Hyundai already showed off a concept of it, right? I think. The ID Buzz is too expensive. But they already pulled it out of production for this year, and they're gonna come back with something better. It is good. It needs to have way more range than it did. And ideally cheaper, or else they're not going to capture much of an audience. Minus sliding door. Yeah. Kind of. Because it's a scaled up sedan rather than an SUV. But still, I need that sliding door, man. It's just so much more convenient to get in the back. It just makes more sense. Ingress, egress is so much better. And like the general gist of the whole, it's not the fact that the sliding door is a... I don't care about the door itself. It's the fact that if it's a sliding door, then that means it's a boxy car. Whereas even from what I've seen, the Gravity, it's still like, it's one of those almost like stylistically sloping down towards the back kind of cars. So the rear seat, the last row is still going to be compromised, like headroom wise and stuff like that. I want a true like van that like everybody can sit anywhere and still be comfortable, kind of. I honestly, you know what, like it's crazy to me. I don't know what this whole like coal rolling stuff is about, and people like, whatchamacallit, fighting against the EVs. Like they'll go to like these diesel trucks, they'll bring themselves and block whatever supercharger parking spots, or like try to like show off and whole roll of freaking Tesla when they drive by, or even in the parking lot, whatever. I don't get it, man. Like, why? What did this guy do to you? Like, what is them getting an EV? How is that affecting you? So unstable. Like, how is it your problem? And these are the same guys that'll scream about like freedom. Like, yeah, this guy's free as well. He chose an EV. It's just the same guys. Freedom for me, but not for you. Well, there's the NSXs. At least it's not power build, so that's good. Alright, classic. I forgot you need to brake for this first corner. Kind of ignored for the rest of the track though. Yeah, these braking points are useless. A little less maintenance. Yeah, when I think about it, it's like there's like you get extra features because everything's powered by like you have a huge battery, like in-built dash cam, pretty obvious. Over the air control before you even get there, heating up the car before you get there is huge. Not having to worry about hitting a gas station and just charging at home for convenience, or at work or at parking lots, whatever. It's just convenient, like because you're parked there anyway. Quietness, you don't have to worry about an engine. There's no vibration for comfort. VH. Instant torque for overtaking and traffic. You're beating everything off the line. You're beating everything. Of course, once everybody has EVs, that's gonna change, but it still feels good. Even like a Bolt, you know, it doesn't have to be a high performance one. It still feels great. Yeah, more energy efficient. Although the energy efficiency probably doesn't count in like actual buyers' minds. Let's be honest. People aren't thinking about that. Only like the environmentalists will think about how like energy efficient things are. It's about the other benefits, right? The gas benefits, the whatever. Most buyers. The luxury aspect. Yeah, but I nobody's thinking about it like that though. People are thinking about, oh, how much is this gonna cost? Am I saving on gas bills? They're not thinking of, oh, only people that actually think in terms of efficiency are like the environmentalists, like, yes. If I burn, like, they'll have to know that, oh, you're lucky if a gas engine is 50% efficient based off fuel source and potential energy. Most of it ends up being heat, not for propulsion. Versus electricity is generally like 90% efficient, even just on the conversion to motor, and that's not even counting how energy is extracted, unfortunately. But wires for the electrical grid are generally 90% efficient. And power plants are way more efficient, even if they do burn coal or gas or whatever, at extracting the energy than in an engine, you know? But nobody's thinking about that. That's what I'm saying. I like, it translates essentially because energy costs are lower, because it's more efficient and giving you the same kilowatts. So it translates into savings, but nobody's thinking in efficiencies. They're benefiting, and it's one of their selling points, is one of the benefits. This is my last playlist, by the way. I saw it was an S1 road and I couldn't resist. I should have ended the last playlist. Yeah, the only thing is that EVs are still expensive right now. We need some type of battery tech needs to get cheaper. It's slowly coming down, but we're still, I would say we're still at the tail end of the early adopter phase. Things are more expensive. Really needs to come down. Price gap between like a base Corolla and the cheapest EV is still pretty big, unless you start counting like, you know, that's true regardless, because you can go cheap EV, but then the cheapest EV is going to be worse than a Corolla. SC7 Ultra. Well, you don't have to brake too much. The brakes suck on those things. Xiaomi comes to the States. Good luck in this freaking... Good luck. Not in the next 3 years. In this administration? No way, bro. We're gonna have them though in Canada. Actually, no. I think we're only allowing cheap EVs, so probably not the SU7. I think it's a bit too expensive still. Well, if you don't count the hyper cars, yeah. Does the Lucid Sapphire not have decent brakes? Taycan as well. If you count Taycan, I think those have decent brakes too. They're actually performance vehicles. The SG7 that cheaps out on brakes that have putting a bigger caliper cover. So it looks like the caliper is bigger, but it's actually just like one piston or whatever. For actual performance driving, it doesn't. It's whack, but I guess day to day it doesn't matter because you're not really using brakes much. Makes sense. It's only really useful for emergency braking situations. And in those cases, you're not like heat soaking the brakes, so having big brakes won't change anything. Small brakes will be fine because your limit is on the tire grip, not on brakes. Well, you need to make the stop once. You'll be good. You're not repeated stopping like in racing or lapping. But when we think fun car, we always we think about spirited driving, like on canyons for most times. But do a track day. SU7 ain't it? It goes fast and straight though. It's definitely a good daily. Pretty high trim Taycans. Yeah, the Taycans are probably good. I mean, it's Porsche. I don't doubt that they figured that out. I think they're not going to change the driving dynamics, but I imagine them cheaping out on brakes. But I mean, the car is so expensive. SU7 is cheap compared to like they have to cut some corners. Get the price down. I'm not expecting them to have the best brakes. You just have to know the limitations going in, right? All that matters. Not like most EV buyers will care at that point. They just care about 0 to 60. It's, oh, big fast, big horsepower number. Nobody really thinks about the brakes. Plus, honestly, it's like an easy aftermarket fix too, if you really care. To be fair, I don't think I think soulless is too much. I think it's just boring because of how competent it is. And it's a straight line thing. There's some part of me that's like hearing an engine rev and that sound of a gear shift or the revs going up and then going down. It's the same way that why if CVTs function correctly, like as CVTs and it holds one rev, is also boring. It's not that it's bad because it is good. It's because it's holding at the efficiency line or at the max power line. At the max revs, at the right revs the whole time. So it's a good technology and you're generally getting the best out of the car, of the engine doing it. It's just that. It's just that factor of it. There's something about the rise and fall of engine sound, like it's like the auditory experience you're losing, and then if you're rolling through the gears manually, you're losing that sort of enjoyment. So like, I think it's hard to say that EVs are not inherently less, or not inherently more boring as cars. It has the party trick of, oh, I have a bunch of power, right? That's great, but just you have gas cars that have power too. What else do you got? You know what I mean? Could do simulated car sounds. Yeah, I know. Like the iNOC 5N did it, right? But you don't get the vibrate the same. Like at least current technology, because of speaker technology, right? We're not simulating things as well as real life yet. And at that point, I'm wondering whether you want to do that at all. For personally, I would always turn that off. Or at least I would turn off the fake gear changes. Like keep the sound of like a spaceship or something going up, but because I want the EV to be functioning as at tip-top shape, and if it has to simulate gears and not as the power builds as the revs go up, I don't want to do that. Part of the appeal is that it's instant. You get all the torque at once. Maybe it'll change if we get like speakers or whatever that is like so raw that we'll get the right sound, but at least for now we don't have that. I mean, we're even doing that right now in gas cars, right? Like piping in fake engine sounds into the speakers already, and that's not good. And at least I still had an engine. People hate that too. But if you remove the engine entirely, I don't think people will love it either, but it is what it is. Anyway, it's been a good conversation though. Loved it. Loved the stream. Thank you once again for everybody who dropped by. Thank you, Vatican, for playing. Thanks for hanging out with me, the Presence. Good talks, as usual. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, night, morning, afternoon, or wherever you guys are from. Just have a great day in general, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care, stay safe, all the good stuff. Bye. 400 hertz, big help with the sound piping through the car. Yeah, I had to turn it off on my M3. I coded it out. I just rather have nothing rather than fake sounds. It's just not good. I did like find myself like having to adjust a little bit because I was kind of relying on, got used to the sound to know when to shift, but not that big a deal. Anyway, take care, stay safe, all the good stuff. See you guys in the next one. Bye.